Wait, what's the intro story for this?
Just say we watch Adolescence. Oh, do you have a story?
Let me think. Wednesday
There's a lot of
partner
breaks
meeting.
coming up. Are you doing anything?
No, I haven't planned
Nothing?
anything. No. Are you doing anything?
No, I didn't realize we had breaks coming up.
It's always around this time. Like we have a
I
week off, and then like it's King's Day, and then it's May Day, and then it's. I think that's all in 1 week. I think.
yeah, and I feel like that's what people here refer to as spring break. So
Are you only
sure.
now realizing?
I don't have spring break. I didn't grow up with spring break.
But you've been here 2 years, so you just thought it was like a week off?
Well, it's just like I'll only know about it when approaching it, i.e. like now 2 weeks in advance. But I know like when I'm with other people, sometimes they talk about it quite a few months in advance because they're like, oh my god, I have to go somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's not a holiday that clicks in my mind. Like Easter is one, spring break just happens not to be.
Okay.
So I'm assuming a lot of people are gonna go away.
Probably.
Oh, you don't know.
I think a lot of people either go back home or like go on like a friend trip.
My roommate's going back home.
Oh.
So I'll be here alone.
Oh.
And now the wheels are turning into the idea that I could do something.
Oh, okay. Were you recording?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I don't know. That could be the story.
Yeah, that can be the story.
I'm not editing this one.
Cool.
Okay, we watched Adolescence.
We did.
It is so crazy that this miniseries just came out a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it is fresh. I think that's what.
Insane.
Yeah. And I feel like it's blown up a lot.
It really, really has. Like I'm usually super behind on the latest series. Like the most relevant example that comes to my mind was Riverdale. I only started watching it when like season 2 had come out, and by then the hype had already died down a bit. Even like Squid Games, I watched like months later, and Queen's Gambit. But when I came to watch Adolescence, I was just sitting here with my roommate, and we wanted to watch something, so we just put it on. And then I found out it came out literally 2 weeks before that.
Yeah.
I was like, that's insane.
I've been seeing it on my Netflix and Letterboxd, but I had other things that I wanted to watch first, and I didn't know that it was gonna be good. Like the cover thing didn't seem interesting to me.
Right, but yeah, the selling point. I also, when people told me about it, I wrote it off as like, okay, I'll add that to the list. You know. But then when someone told me it was just one shot per episode, I was like, whoa, okay, that's a good selling point. I'll watch it immediately then. And
I think for me, when I saw it on Letterboxd, I was confused. I thought it was a movie, so I'd have to go to the cinemas, and I was already planning on going to the cinemas to watch Mickey 17. Which I still haven't watched yet. So I was like, oh, if I do go, then it'll have to be in the cinema thing. And then when you told me about it and you said it was enough, I was like, oh, I could just watch it right now. So I think it was literally...
Yeah, that too.
The day before like Wednesday, which was our whole prototype event. I was like, I put it on at like 1. And I knew that it was like an hourly episode, like hour-long episodes, 4 episodes. But I was like, maybe I'll just watch one and then tomorrow. But then after episode 1, I was like, I have to finish this. So then I watched the whole thing. And I was like,
the thing is, I knew it was gonna be like that. Like, just as long as I just dive into it, it would immediately capture my attention. And
I wish it was a movie though, but I think it works better as a 4-episode thing.
Yeah.
It's also like, if they were to shoot a one shot like for 4 hours nonstop, that would be insane.
That would be insane. They'd probably have a lot of difficulty in setting, but I mean, they probably already had a lot of difficulty in setting.
Okay, so do you want to give the recap of
Adolescence? Sure. This is a bit of an impromptu topic, so I don't have a good recap. It revolves around a boy being suspected of stabbing a girl, and the boy is like what, 12, 13 years old. The girl too, and it's based in the UK, and it revolves a lot about like just the details and the emotions and sort of the aftermath just for each person, mainly him and his family. And then, you know, with the other people that interact with him, such as like the detective, a therapist, etc., etc. And 4-part series. except it's recognized as a movie basically. I have such a qualm with it being on Letterboxd, but I'm glad it's there. And the big, at least, selling point for me about this show was that each episode was taken in one shot, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of that. I like that because I feel like a lot of times when there are cuts, it's the same thing with like when you're watching a YouTube video and it's like cut here, a cut there, big captions here, big captions there, just like music, whatever.
Yeah.
This felt very like raw in the sense that like if you're watching a video and there's like a long video, there's no background music to keep you swimming. There's no like flashy Mr. Beastie type color. It felt very much like that, where like it's so raw that you're like drawn in, and it worked very well with the topic of this series because like it's a very heavy one, and so like I guess with cuts and everything, obviously it would still work, but this just made it that much more real, at least in my opinion.
You didn't get breaks because of everything just being one shot, and you had to be there for the intense moments. You also had to be there when things were stalling a little bit, but you were just forced to be in the discomfort that they were in, sort of. And that was so powerful.
Like I liked particularly the part where they're taking like his biometrics and they literally, because you can't cut it, right? So it's like from his left thumb all the way throughout all his fingers on his left hand, and then they did the same for his right hand, and you just have to watch that. But it's also good because in that moment, you know, you don't have to think as much, so you're more like thinking about the scene that had just happened,
right?
Or like just going through everything that had, because that's like the very first episode, right? You're thinking, okay, this kid just got suspected of murder. Like what's going on? And that like gives you the opportunity to do that. I think also like the close-up shots of like when they were checking like him, like there was, what's it, strip searching, and it just panned on his dad like feeling very uncomfortable about the whole situation
because child is being strip searched.
It was very interesting. I like the camera work in that movie.
Incredibly clever. How everything was done. That also stuck out to me because that was the smartest way to do it, to see the dad's reaction. In the story, the main character relied a lot on the relationship he had with his dad, so his dad was quite prominent, and that was such a fascinating storyline, specifically seeing his reaction.
So, and just to situate, it's basically a social commentary, I would say, on like adolescence today, but from like a boy standpoint of like this kind of red pill toxic masculinity, because that's it. Eventually the reason that led him to like obviously doing what he did. But it's not just that, it's also like knife crime in the UK. It's also like cyberbullying. It's a lot of things tied into one, but the main thing revolves around like the mind of this 13-year-old boy and why, like, as society is right now, this is a very real situation that could happen.
I think what my initial like reaction immediately after watching the whole series was just how realistically portrayed everything was on screen, because I'd just never seen anything like that before. Like you really saw the raw emotions, and you had to be there when they were angry. You had to be there when things were just nothing. Like the nothing moment I think about was when they're driving in the car and they just let that conversation go on for so long, like past the point where you know, you think it's just for TV. It's to a point where you're like, wow, this is something
just
that actually
a family
happened.
having
there were no other emotions. It was just plain, simple, mundane conversation. But you also followed like his mom sort of disassociating a lot, knowing what to do, and you know, projecting her emotions elsewhere. You were there when his dad just had this pain that first came out as anger, but then eventually you saw the true sadness behind it, you know? And I've just never seen anything like that. And also, it was such a accurate portrayal of children at that age in a school like that, in that environment. I don't know if you resonated as much, but I grew up my whole life in private schools, in these Christian schools with the uniform, and you hear the horror stories of other places, and eventually you go to, like, I was in a co-ed school at the end, and like these things are happening with children at this age, and this boy being so standoffish at times, being so bipolar, being so influenced but uncertain what he wants, and putting up a face, like everything was just so accurate. I couldn't believe it.
Let's go episode by episode.
Okay.
You'll start episode 1.
Right.
Detective is there. He gets the call, and then they start the raid. And they
Yeah, early
enter
in the
the house. They
morning.
barge in, guns out. And it was so interesting because at the beginning, the dad's like, I didn't do anything. Like,
Yeah.
what are you? But they weren't there for the dad.
Yeah.
It was for the 13-year-old boy. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, what is going on?
I mean, even just in that split moment, you immediately understand that, like, the dad definitely thinks there's no one in his family that could possibly have done this.
Exactly.
He, if anything, would be most likely. He immediately says that he's not the person. And the second they knew it wasn't him, it probably had this panic set in that's like, who in my family are you after?
Yeah. Like, as a parent in that setting, like, because this was something that happened the night before, right?
I also don't understand why it had to be so early in the morning of that day. Like, that time.
I guess before he goes to school. I don't know.
Yeah, possibly. And then, yeah, basically they barge into the children's room and, you know, immediately, I mean, everything is just in fits. The dad is yelling like, hey, you don't need to do this. You're in the wrong place. You got the wrong person. Just calm down. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You know? And I'm there like, okay, maybe if it was me, I'd be like, resisting this seems a little bit pointless. I get that emotions are high, but it was such a typical portrayal of a family in distress. And, you know, they reach the boy and the boy is immediately like, what is going on? I didn't do this. And I mean, I presumed he was innocent in that moment. It's a child.
Yeah.
It's a child and he's matching pajamas in a spaceship bedroom, you know?
He pees himself.
Yeah. And I think I can't remember, I mean, it was like a week ago I watched this, but I think he's calling to you like his dad and not knowing what to do, and I don't know, immediate pandemonium.
So then they take him to the station. His family follows behind, and then they're in the van. They're telling him about all these things. And it seems like the cop is on his side, right? I forget his name. I'm not good with names.
I don't know any of these.
The detective guy. Is on his side telling him, I'm gonna give you like some advice. You ask for a solicitor. Like, don't say anything. Blah 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 blah. But then later in the episode, you come to realize like it was all like a mind game kind of thing. So he's in there. He's being processed, bugged, and everything. And his parents come and he just starts crying. Right? He can't think. They're asking him, oh, would you like cereal or whatever. But he's thinking like his dad is there. Blah, blah, blah. And in that moment, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because we don't know the crime. We don't know like. And we just know that he's been suspected of murder because that's what they said when they were arresting him. I'm like, why is this kid being taken into custody? Like, what is going on? I was so lost in the movie, but you just have to keep watching, right? Because
it just doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop.
It doesn't pause. You don't have time to think, and you also just kind of want to know more, and you want to know more quickly. And I mean, long story short, they don't give you that in the first episode. It just takes you through all the logistics that he has to go through. You know, he's offered breakfast. He's offered, I don't know, like a lawyer to be on his side, someone a representative. He chooses his dad to be
adult,
with him.
An appropriate adult is the word that they use. But then remember, so one thing that caught me in the first episode was, I think they were talking about a similar case that had happened. Like they were talking about how they hate doing juvenile cases, but then they talk about how they were like, why did he choose his dad? And then they're like, oh, a similar case happened. You never know what's happening with like the father. And I was thinking, oh, did the dad commit a crime that his son is trying to cover it up for him for? Because then I was thinking back to the beginning where it's like, I didn't do anything. So now like my mind is racing like all different ways, but the right way. Because as we come to find out, they now start this investigation. And okay, even before that, right? He's like, he asked him one-on-one, like, did you do it? And he says no. I'm like, okay, there's no way.
The dad. You mean when the dad took the son aside and he says like, you have one chance to tell me. Oh my god, that moment was big. Because
also then, like, I feel like as a kid, if he is innocent and his dad had to ask him, then it's like, oh, so you don't even like trust me, you know? Like if he had to ask, because in that moment we still don't know if he did or not. So I'm thinking like from the kid's perspective, like that's kind of shitty to hear from your dad, like questioning whether or not you did it. You would think like obviously not, but then from the dad's perspective, it's like, as a father, like, I mean, it's true that especially in this day and age, like you're a lot more hands off with your kids, especially when they start getting to 13 and they want to like go out with their friends. So like you really don't know what happens outside of the walls of your home.
My roommate just got back.
Right? So that moment was so heavy and interesting to show that happening.
And it stuck out to me because I was thinking of myself in that position.
Mm-hmm.
And absolutely, even if I did it, I would say no. Being
Mm-hmm.
asked a point blank question
Yeah.
like that, I just say no. I don't really know why I'd say no.
Especially at 13.
But
I used to lie a lot as a kid.
That's the thing. I also lied a lot. And I got into so much trouble for that all the time. But point blank asked like that, I'd say no.
Mhm.
I mean, now the mature way
Yeah.
of thinking back and reflecting is probably thinking
Mhm.
like, you know, I'd probably like the answer to be no.
Mhm.
You know, I'd probably still hope in some way that they'd never find out it was me.
Mhm.
But also, I think it's sort of just that defensive knee-jerk reaction
Exactly.
as well. But yeah, you're so right about the point of view from the dad and the perspective of like, oh, your dad doesn't even trust you, and you really want your dad on your side. So maybe that's just what you say. But also, just as a 13-year-old,
Yeah,
you lie.
Bro, it would be the smallest thing, like, oh,
Yeah.
did you like have the last bit
Yeah.
of the food and didn't watch the plate? I'm like, no, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Why would you lie? But as a kid, like so even in such a high stakes environment, I feel like you are gonna lie.
Absolutely.
And then we get to the interview or the interrogation. The interrogation. And then we see, okay, the detective isn't really on his side. That like buddy at the beginning was kind of help him open up and like kind of make it go as quick as possible. But then the solicitor advised him to say no comment whenever they were asked about the happenings of last night. Yeah. So then that starts happening. I'm like, okay, surely like I'm still thinking surely he didn't do it.
Yeah.
Like they bring up the shoe. I'm like, surely not. And you can kind of see on the face of the dad, because he's like, he even says like, oh, you can answer this question. Like you have nothing to hide, just say it. Because his dad is so confident in that his son didn't do what they're accusing him of that he's telling him to say.
Yeah.
But then that eventually leads to him being caught out. Turns out it wasn't even necessary because they had video evidence of exactly what was happening.
Yeah.
And in that moment, they zoom up into the dad's face, seeing like his son on CCTV footage, like 7 times stabbing a girl his age. And that's how the episode ends.
And you just feel the urgency of the dad wanting to believe that none of it is true, and just how much stress and pressure he's putting into the situation. And he's just exerting all of that because, you know, his whole world was just shaken up.
I'm thinking like... Because I guess at that age, he still doesn't like understand the gravity of the situation.
Yeah.
But like he thinks like, because as a kid, like you lie good enough, like you won't, like you'll get away with it. Right?
And most of the time you do. But like, I don't think there's ever been a point where at the first opportunity I had to say sorry. I just admitted everything and immediately apologized and had that be the way that things go. Maybe I've done it once, but I think nonetheless the outcome was still the same. You know, I don't think like my mom got any less angry.
Yeah.
And she didn't feel better just because I apologized earlier, you know? And I don't know, the point of like us also just constantly being on his side throughout the first episode, you can you're sort of hating the police enforcement. You're sort of like just resenting everyone there. I mean, I think you kind of forget that they probably have the exact same impression. They probably also want to think that this didn't happen, that they don't want to blame this kid, no matter how bad that they know people can be. Because I mean, we know that too. But this whole time.
But I mean, as a 13-year-old, do you think that's him being bad, or that's he's literally just a product of what he's been around and grown up from?
I mean, that's just the complicated part of all of this, right? There is no one answer. You sort of just understand the situation. I think maybe it's because we were a lot closer to the age that he is than maybe anyone older watching this. But you sort of just know that there are moments when things are just messy and you don't know why you did what you did and you let emotions run. Obviously, for like you and me and most people that we know, it's not to the extent of stabbing someone, but because of all these reasons, you have a little bit of understanding for the situation, and you don't immediately see him as just devil reincarnated because he did this to a girl, despite point blank evidence being handed right in front of you. And I think that's what the series is built on, right? At least.
But I don't know, maybe just the guy that acted was just a very good actor. But like, I could deadass believe whenever he was like, oh, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. I promise it wasn't me. I didn't do anything. I didn't kill her, whatever. I like still believed them.
Yeah.
Like it seemed like he truly thinks that he wasn't the one responsible for her death.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole thing.
I think you're right as well in the sense that he didn't understand
the gravity
of the situation. Mm-hmm. That, I mean, I think just in that moment and also in the moments of that he was in, throughout all the episodes, he just wasn't in a position to understand that death is just on a whole other level than all the other crap you're going through, than the peer pressure, than the bullying, than the da-da-da-da-da-da, you know? And that he's still associating that with the ordinary bad things that happen in his life. So he's not realizing that, you know, he did something really, really bad. It's completely out of proportion, but to him it's not.
Exactly that.
And there's no one really sitting down and taking him to understand that, like, you took away someone's life. Imagine if this was your sister or something like that. Like, that sort of never happens. And yeah, you stick by his side throughout it.
Yeah. So then that's basically episode 1. And I'm thinking episode 2 is going to be like a continuation, like unto the trial. I did not know the direction that this was going to go after episode 1. But then episode 2 starts as like a week later. And it's at school. I'm like, oh, okay, this is going to be interesting. But it's now basically the detectives going to the school that he goes to. We found out that the detective has a son that goes to that school. And there we get a lot of the backstory or like context for what happened in episode 1, how we came to this moment of Jamie murdering this girl, right? Because now we're on the detective side. We're like, why? Why did he do? What was his motive? Because like we know that he did it, but why did he do it? And that's what the detective is trying to find out in this excursion, I guess, to this school. And he goes to class from class to class and kind of does detective work. And you can see even the kids don't even like understand the gravity of what has happened. Like there's one kid making like a lot of jokes about what's going on. The only person that really seems to understand the weight of what has happened obviously is the best friend of the girl, right? And she's like a mess at school. Like her eyeliner is like drawn down throughout, showing that she's been crying for how long. And this eventually leads to her like punching one of the friends of
the girl. So was it like Kiara or something? I can't remember.
Yeah, but then she punches one of the boy's friends.
Of Jamie,
Jamie, that's his name.
You just said it.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. One of Jamie's friends. Right, and I feel like in that moment for me, it became like a lot more real in the sense like, this is so real in this, like, someone could die and only the people that are really close to the person who died would really feel it. Because everyone else, especially at that age, can't really process death to like a capacity that's enough to empathize with the family or the friends or the close people to that person.
Right.
So like as the girl in this, I can understand like her feeling completely alone in that environment where like she's the only one that seems to care that someone is dead.
Right.
For me, that was like one of the main takeaways from episode 2.
I mean, the whole build up to that, you know, the detective there just asking the wrong questions. I mean, he's doing his job. He's being an adult to a child, but he just doesn't understand someone at that age.
Exactly.
And he doesn't understand a girl at that age, or just the fact that, you know, it was like a day after, and she's getting so frustrated, and he's just handling the situation wrong. He's doing nothing wrong exactly, but you can see just what is affecting her and how it's just layering on. And you don't really, I feel, at least for me, you don't expect for her to have an outburst. You know, if anything, you'd probably associate a girl at that age with like crying, tears, needing food, wanting her mom. No, she storms off and you're like, okay, she's angry. She's in shock and she's angry. Makes sense. And then she finds this boy and she just knocks him. It's like
over and over again on the ground.
And you just see like, wow, no, she didn't cry. She didn't rant. She didn't do anything. She expressed that like, oh, you're asking the wrong questions. Why are you doing this to me? Stop. Except, you know, in her way of doing that and just doing this. And also you could see that the moment of her beating up the schoolmate didn't matter to her because that's what she needed in the moment. She just did it. And it's like, wow, you really get into the mindset of being 13 again or whatever it is.
He also brought up the interesting about like not understanding kids that age.
Yeah.
Like that parallel, but like that moment of like connection between the detective and his son about like finally getting to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Like it really put into perspective, like they live two completely different worlds. Like he sees the emojis and thinks the literal meaning.
Yeah.
But then obviously the kids at the school obviously know a lot more of what's going on. So him in his adult mind trying to get into the mind of a 13-year-old, he found that super tough. He wasn't going anywhere. I think that's also like the problem. That's also part of the problem parenting someone at that age, is because you can't really connect with them.
Right.
At all.
Yeah.
And maybe you can even make that tie to Jamie and his dad about there just wasn't that connect because of that age gap to the point where he didn't really understand what was going on until it was too late.
And I don't know. See, it's even hard to put into words. I didn't expect or attribute responsibility to the parents to have to know their child at that age, because it's also fine that that's the relations that they had. That's probably the relationship most people have at that age. You know, your relationship with your parents fluctuates. And especially for boys at that age, you distance yourself. You've got a lot of hormones pumping in. And, you know, you feel like no one in the world understands you. And there are other things you want to do, and your parents just don't align with that. And you sort of just have that gap for a little bit. It's like, it's perfectly normal. Except in this one case, in this whole series, it's where everything went wrong, and it just doesn't give them this closure of understanding what happened.
Yeah.
But it's just normal that this happens. And this relationship between the detective and his son was so interesting to see, because I mean, it reflected exactly that. And the detective was doing the same thing, asking the wrong questions, trying to spend more time with his son, just going about it the wrong way. I mean, his son was I think 2 years older than Jamie. So he was a little bit more mature at this point, a little more receptive, and, you know, catching him in a good moment, he was able to be the bigger person and like just say, okay, like I'll hang out with my dad, you know, and be able to do that. But I think it also just emphasized how different being 13 and being 15 is, and having that maturity at 15 but not at 13, while still knowing everything going on in the world of being a kid.
Also, I don't think we mentioned, but basically what happened was the detective thought that the girl leaving comments under all of his posts was a sign that she liked him, or that they had like some sort of relationship going on. But it ended up being cyberbullying, where she was like basically calling him an incel. And we find out that could be part of the motive for why he ended up doing what he did, right? He was upset or tired of getting bullied by this older girl. And that's why he ended up doing what he did. But yeah, it goes to show, like, even if it's like in an extreme, like if your parents are the type to take your phone and go through it, they see it, but they won't understand what's going on, right? Because we just talk so different from, like, even me and like my sister, who's like 11 or 12 years old. Some of the terminology that she uses, I don't understand. I can't imagine how my parents will cope with that.
I was kind of surprised the detectives knew what incel meant.
Oh, yeah. Oh, another thing, you just brought it up, was in that episode, the female detective, I think that was also really important to break out, where she talked about how we're always following the mind of the guy, but maybe it might be interesting to follow the mind of the victim and kind of see the school or like the situation from her perspective that might lead to a breakthrough. They don't end up doing that, but that's an important thing to bring up, where like it is true that the victim always just gets neglected as just the victim. It's the suspect that ends up having all the limelight, quote unquote. And that was like a very important thing. And also because it came from like the female detective, right? I feel like that's like a subtle nod to diversity, in the sense like if other detectives were men, they probably would have just kept going like along the route of like following the guy and stuff like that. But like having that other view of like maybe following the girl's mind or like doing things that way, maybe you wouldn't have had the victim's friend storming off, because then it would have been a more caring, more empathetic approach, as opposed to like an interrogation that ended up being what happened. I thought that was very, very important to show in the episode. And that was just like a tiny part of it. I feel like that's what makes it so good, because it's just these things that compound together to make it such a good watch.
Was it in that episode where it was the boy had run away?
Mm-hmm.
That was also so accurate. I mean, just his initial, like, he was such a little asshole when he was sitting there, like, why are you asking me this? Just, you know, just, like, stop wasting my time, or whatever he said. Like, he just had all his guards up, didn't want to do this, and that sort of was also the attitude of every student at school, was just, like, what are you doing here? And just don't care who you are, but just rude. And
yeah, it's also that mentality, I think, of like snitches get stitches, or like fuck the cops, you know, where like even though something so terrible has happened, the cops are still viewed as the bad guys, so nobody wants to say anything, even though Jamie, someone who goes to school, has done something very terrible. No one wants to say anything, or like everyone treats the cops with hostility to get them out of the classroom as soon as possible. And you can see the frustration in the teachers and the way they act, because the kids don't seem to like care at all about what's going on. I thought that was also like a point of realism there.
But also, it like that child, the friend, he never got the comforting ending of realizing the cop isn't a bad guy, because when he eventually admitted what he knew, he was taken away as an accomplice to the crime. So it's like, it still reinforces that idea to him that, you know, saying the truth brings nothing, it brings trouble. The cops are not your friends. This would have been better with my original plan of just running away, because it ended up that like his knife was the one that Jamie used, and therefore tied him to the crime, and he was arrested on the spot. And it's like, okay, it just sucks. It sucks for just everything and everyone involved, but it's probably an accurate portrayal.
I mean, he was an accomplice, so like had to happen, right? Because I mean, if they needed to find the murder weapon in order to have like a fully convincing, what's it called? Or at least they thought to have like a fully convincing argument, so like the case closed as soon as it gets to the jury or whatever. But in the end, he just ends up saying like, you know what, just like process it right now. We don't care about the weapon. Like, I'm gonna spend time with my son. So then it's like, yeah, really, he could have just kept quiet, and then he would have gotten out of it. Maybe, we don't know. But yeah, that is the reality of it.
Also insane that the whole episode Jamie wasn't even in there, and he was literally the last thing from the first episode, and you sort of really just wanted to know what happened, and they just didn't give you that
at all.
Yeah.
Then we get to episode 3. I think a lot of people regard as like the magnum opus of the 4-episode series.
So it's revolved pretty much entirely around him and a weekly, like, assigned therapist. I don't know what her actual role is called.
Yeah, we can call her a therapist, but I think her job is to like kind of assess his mental state, right, for the court. Yeah.
Because the people that, what is he? He's the perpetrator, so like the other guys would probably have their own report, and she's from the other side wanting to.
No, but she was an independent.
Yeah.
Like whatever.
Yeah.
It's so hard. But yeah, she was independent. I think she was like, her things could not be used. Like, she wasn't on either side, right? She was just there to do the report specifically for the judge and the jury to be able to like assess his mental state. I think. Yeah. And yeah, it was so interesting, the entire episode, and very intense.
Very, very intense.
I don't even know where to start.
It's kind of, it was just so much to go into.
So we're like 7 months in, I think, into this whole thing.
It's super late.
It starts with 7 months in. So he's been moved to a facility with like other mentally challenged, or this, I don't know what it is. But he mentions something somewhere in the episode, like everyone just like screams or whatever. But we're introduced to the fact that this lady comes in, and it's her and another man. I think that's also important, that it's her and a man as the two ones conducting their separate independent ones, because then it always gets hinted at of like the fact that the guy does things a little bit more straightforward and direct, because they're like, oh, why are you coming so often, or why are you asking these questions? Like, do you want to know what the other guy says? Like, it's nothing like what you're doing. I think it's important to show like that kind of contrast. But yeah, she comes in and she's let known that he's been in another fight. So it seems that in this 7-month period, in this play, he hasn't had the best of times.
Yeah.
Right, he's been getting in fights with the other boys in the facility.
Also, up till now, I'm pretty sure he was portrayed like pretty much as just like a nice normal kid.
Yeah.
And now it's starting, you know, the cracks are starting to show. You're starting to see, oh, he's got anger issues. Oh, he also bullies other people, verbal, whatever, and he had the reaction of stabbing to some comments and peer pressure, and you're sort of like, okay, he's definitely not innocent.
No.
Yeah.
At all. We were let known that throughout, like, it becomes increasing, like, he becomes more and more villainized throughout the therapy session that is episode 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she brings him a hot chocolate with marshmallows. And you can see they kind of have this like relationship built up from the weeks of therapy where like he's like bright and happy to see her, and you know, at the beginning it just starts like as a casual chit chat.
Yeah.
And I think even then you can see like he's not very phased. Maybe he's had time to process it, but it doesn't seem like he understands still like exactly what is happening.
Yeah. He definitely doesn't understand that he is living through the consequences of his actions. He just knows he's sort of being punished, and this is how every day is going.
Because like his one remark is like, oh, his friend, I think Ryan, the one who got he's like, oh, he got to move to a different facility. Why can't I go to another one? Like, I don't like it here. He really, yeah, exactly. He doesn't think still that he's done anything wrong. I think even at the end of the therapy session and the episode where she's like, do you understand that murder is a crime and blah 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 blah? Like he just says, okay. He says like yes, but it doesn't seem like he's fully understand. Even after this whole hour-long session of like fits and tantrums and back to calm and whatever. Another thing I think was the use of rain in that episode. Did you notice?
No.
Oh, Serena.
I saw when the room got dark. I don't know when like the lighting had changed and
then you just start hearing the rain going, and then it would time with when he had a fit. And I thought that was really like, that's like fundamentals of like setting a scene, right? Of like dark weather means bad things about to happen.
Yeah.
But it's used so subtly and so well in the thing in the episode. I thought that was very clever. But to the meat of like what happened, we start to explore his relationship with his dad. And I think that kind of gives more backstory as to why he is, because it is true that as a 13-year-old boy, your closest understanding of masculinity is the father figure in your life that happens to be his dad.
Yeah.
Right? And he said one time his dad broke down the shed from being angry. I'm like, a shed is a building. He just broke that down from an anger fit. That's very serious. But he said he doesn't beat my mom or he doesn't beat anyone. It's just that one time thing. And then he has his own fit. We're starting to see the similarities between him and his dad. Like, oh, okay, he definitely gets some things from his father.
Yeah.
Did he get murder from his father? We don't know. That's something that eventually comes up in the last episode, but we'll get there. But I think just from the beginning, that was a very interesting way to start the episode.
She is very much asking the questions she has to. She obviously connects a little bit better with him, but I mean, towards the end of the episode, you realize that it's out of her comfort zone. It's out of what she would probably prefer, but she's doing her job, and her questions can't do anything but come out kind of very like God, it's accusing him, and he naturally will be very defensive. He's already a very defensive kid.
He is.
And he has his guards up, and he's just irritated and frustrated, and he doesn't understand why he's being asked these questions. He doesn't understand why he has to talk about his dad, and then he doesn't understand why he has to make.
He thinks everything is a trick.
Dad and him, yeah. And
so I guess if you're growing up with like adults are there to trick you, then you're gonna always have that sort of guard up. Even in this situation where he's like, it's clear that he's built rapport with this lady, but he still thinks that she's trying to trick him. And throughout the episode, I feel like you start to like learn more and more about what it's like to be a 13-year-old boy today, where he's like he lies for no reason about touching a girl or like getting nudes sent to him. And then he immediately admits, oh, I lied about that. He doesn't know why. Like, but it's just stuff like that, and we just probe deeper and deeper, and then we realize his view of women and how unhealthy that is from what he's obviously seen either from his dad or online or through his friends. I think that was a big eye opener.
And he's still quite conscious of the way he speaks because he wants to censor himself when he's speaking to her. She's saying like, you can use the words you use. You don't have to use my language.
Yeah.
So he's just got all these things running through his head, but you can also see that like, you can see the expectation he thinks that is on him, and you can also see what he thinks is the norm. Like he clearly doesn't think that his dad being angry is out of the ordinary.
Because that's what all he knows.
He doesn't think that, you know, he's allowed to have the emotions that he does feel. He doesn't have to lie about where he's been with girls or whatever. But it's not. I didn't even think it would comfort him to know that it's just not normal for that age. And also she's doing her job and she's just probing. And I think, you know, as with anyone that needs a therapist, which is like everyone, you know, she can't be there to comfort him and validate him. She can't be like, it's okay that your feelings are different. She can only ask, do you think this is normal for someone your age to have these feelings? You know? And he's forced to be introspective in a way that he's never been. And while the whole time, just not understanding the whole situation. And like why he needs to do this.
You could also tell he was looking for that validation from her, right? Whenever he'd answer a question like, do you think that's fine? And he's like, she can't answer that. I thought it was also very eye-opening, the part where she asked him, like, what does he consider normal for a guy and a girl to do at 13 years of age? And what he said, like, shocked me a lot. When I was 13, I was far from what I was thinking about. But I guess such as how we have progressed as a society, or maybe it was like that back then, which wasn't that long ago, but maybe I just was lucky enough to not be in such an environment. And for those unlucky to be in such an environment, that's the unhealthy image that you're gonna have, that you think at 13 you should have already touched each other. To me, that was insane.
I mean, honestly, it could as likely be that he's just lying. Well, he is lying, and that everyone else is also lying. He's building his thoughts based on everyone else's lies.
Exactly. It's that pressure from your friends.
But just in a few short sentences, you're able to understand so clearly his world and his point of view and his perspective, and like the... God, I was going to say the parameters, not the parameters.
You can say parameter.
Just
you use your language.
Of the situation. Just every factor and what he thinks the standard is, and what he's feeling, and also what he's hiding, and all of these things.
Let's talk about the tantrums. I thought that was...
Yeah, he had crazy mood swings.
It was very controlling. It's like, you don't tell me what to do. And he was pointing at her. Like, this is a 13-year-old boy thinking he has the authority over a fully grown adult woman.
Yeah.
It's seemingly just because she was a woman.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have that against the detective man or like the solicitor man or any other male figure that we've seen so far. It was just with this particular woman. I would imagine also he didn't have that with the male therapist. And like he flinches at her. In one of them is like, you're scared of me.
Yeah.
I'm a young boy, like 13-year-old boy, and scared of me. And I guess that gave him a feeling of power.
I think it starts initially from him thinking that he could be in a situation where he has more power and control and he can scare this person. And then he capitalizes on that by doing all these things, and it just feeds his ego by seeing if she'll flinch, by sort of just bullying her because he can. And she is just letting him do it because she stays seated all the time. And she's naturally very like bigger than him and taller than him, and can go through all these options of getting security in, telling him to stand, you know, not needing to handle the situation as she did in the way that she does, but she lets him go through all of this, and it's so tense.
Do you think she was scared of him?
Absolutely. Absolutely. She just the primitive reaction would be like, whoa, you could probably throw a punch right now. I mean, you don't really imagine how bad things can get, but you just sense something bad could happen.
Yeah.
And yeah.
For me, it seemed like scared of like this is like how a 13-year-old boy has grown to think. I think for me it was the scary part. So I thought that that's what she was scared about. Just the fact that like probing deeper, she realized like this is not an okay young man. I don't know. We never end up finding out what she wrote in her pad or the assessment that she gave back to the juror. But I would imagine it can have been something good, considering the way it had ended, and that was the last. And he didn't know that it was the last session until the very end. I don't know.
And then he got extremely clingy and needing validation and not
Right.
ready to be let go from someone he's sort of grown an attachment onto, and having her just taken away. And
because you would imagine that's not the same reaction he had with the male therapist.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh, do you think I'm like, do you like me?
Yeah.
Like, that's some heavy stuff.
Yeah, and the fact that that was his only focus after that entire session, after that entire everything, that was the last thing he wanted to know. I think he really needed the attention that she gave him.
Mm-hmm. I think, yeah, that and the fact, I guess he just wanted to know that someone liked him. But again, like at the age of 13, like he can only think of like attraction as purely physical, right?
Yeah.
He thinks he's ugly, and so no one's gonna like him. And he talks about that in the therapy session. I'm like obviously when I was 13, I also thought I was ugly, but like now looking back at it, like a 13-year-old boy or girl cannot be ugly. Like just that's crazy. But I guess in that situation around your peers, like there is an idea of hot and ugly, and if you're ugly, you're never gonna get with anyone, and you're gonna be left behind by your peers or whatever. Because he even asked her, like, "Do you think I'm ugly?" Or like, "Why didn't you say? Aren't you supposed to say that I'm not ugly?" Or like that, like stuff like that. He's looking for that validation, in a sense that he wants to be wrong about himself. Like he wants, so badly just to have this from a woman.
Right.
I thought that was kind of scary.
He also knew what to say in order to get the response he wanted, and when he didn't, it bugged him. And it was just an itch that couldn't be scratched, because he knew him saying certain things of, if I'm saying I'm ugly, you have to say that I'm not, no matter what. So he expected that response. He expected that instant validation. He didn't get it. And that was sort of the theme throughout the whole thing as well. She wasn't responding to the things he was saying as he was accustomed to. And it was just bugging him. So he started being extremely manipulative and toxic, just pulling at whatever string would work. And when nothing worked, he decided to be aggressive. Just to get a reaction. He wasn't getting a reaction. And even if he did, he would have just built on it, fed on it, even more and more. And I don't know.
You can imagine that would be something he probably picked up from his dad. Or we'll talk about his dad later. Another thing I want to talk about in episode 3 was how he ended up, like his relationship with the girl he ended up killing.
Oh yeah, he liked her.
He liked her, or he thought she was flat, but he didn't mind that. Everyone said she was flat, and everyone knows it. But he.
Oh my god! So that's so messed up.
As a 13-year-old,
like, you're all flat. What the? Okay.
But yeah, and it's like her nudes got shared throughout the school, and at her most vulnerable is when he thought that he could get her, because he was like. She was weak, so he thought maybe if he asked her to the fair, she would go with him because she was weak. I'm like, that's not a healthy way to think about women. And that I can only attribute to that Andrew Tate type red pill stuff that is probably circulating throughout, I would say, boys that age. And even like at our age right now, there are a lot of men that I know that maybe not take it as gospel, but like resonate with a lot of the things that Andrew Tate says in regards to women. And that is such a clear like reality check, because like that's not even like something in the movie. That's just something that happens in real life. Like, people really do think that, I guess, women are weak animals that need to be whatever. I thought that was very gut wrenching when he had said, "Oh, he only asked her out because she was at this weak moment." He said he didn't even really like her, but he just thought that he could get someone and maybe be on the same level as his friends or people older than him who have done stuff with girls, right? Because even then they had talked about the friend that had gotten the news originally and how he was dumb for sharing them because he should have gotten more and then shared them. I thought that was also very.
I mean, to me, it was incredibly scary to see that he knew that when a person is vulnerable is when you can get something, and it was a reaction for him. It was built in. And I think, I mean, maybe it's me seeing the benefit of the doubt, but you saw still the child in him when he was like, oh, but I didn't really like her anyways, but he did, and he just wanted to take her to the movies. I don't think he would have had ill intentions. I think he would have felt like he had to do certain things. But the baseline intention, I think, was just having a girl to like a boy and just going to a movie. But yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of pressure with all the other things in his head.
But what do you think about the girl's reaction to him asking her to movies? Because that's when she ended up calling him an incel and then started, I guess, cyberbullying him.
Well, I mean, it seemed as standard as a behavior as all his other peers. It was probably influenced by peer pressure. She probably wouldn't want to be caught dead with a guy like him, quote unquote. She just used a word that's been thrown around very, very lightly. I mean, like liberally.
Yeah.
At that age. I mean,
incel at 13 is so stupid.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Being called flat at 13 is ridiculous. Like, everything about this was insane. I read a dumb thing about the sandwich and its symbolism. Of all the symbolic things I could see. Did you see it?
But no, tell me.
So the therapist brings in a pickle and cheese sandwich, and she offers it to him, and he doesn't want it. He's like, he doesn't like pickles or something. It's just a weird combination. I don't know. He says something.
That is.
And she's like, oh, it's too bad. And it's just there. And apparently, he just doesn't want it. This whole time, he doesn't want it. And apparently, when he eventually takes a bite, and it's quite far along in the episode, it's symbolic that he does things just because they're there. And that's meant to reflect his other behaviors as well. I'm not in that much agreement of the symbolism. It feels a little bit like you're attributing too much to an instant, but it was a seed of thought.
But because is that just a point of realism in the sense that like he's had like this has been a long session and he's been having all these tantrums, so he just got hungry naturally and took a bite at the time, because this is a continuous shot thing, right? So you're gonna capture that moment of realism where he like has to eat the sandwich, but also that could be because exactly why the sandwich? Why? I could see where they're coming from.
I can see where they're coming from, but I also just know, especially with food, if it's there, you're gonna eventually eat it. But I know it was just a bite. But there are so many other things to focus on. I thought it was dumb that that's what they chose. But yeah. And then at the end of the session, she leaves very, very abruptly. Doesn't validate him at all, which, I mean, props to her. That's probably her job. She had a moment in the middle when she could call security and she didn't, which was a smart choice. But when he gets taken away eventually, she's so thrown. Like, you can see when she collects herself again and everything hits her and she cries. Yeah. And you're sort of like, yeah, okay. You know, gotta empathize with her too. She's also human. She's dealt with a lot. I guess it's not something you thought about throughout the episode.
I thought it was interesting when she had gone back up to like check the camera to see how he was reacting. And the security guy is like trying to talk to her. And he's like, that was so real though. Like at the end where it's like I hate my job or something.
Yeah.
Along those lines, like, I mean, if I had to sit in the room and watch camera footage for 8 hours, 9 hours, I'd hate my job too.
that's actually the other thing I wanted to say. This whole series did a great job in portraying people being kind of mediocre at their jobs. Just the detective was not the best detective in the world. The female one, she was kind of a douche in the beginning. At least that's the impression I got. Everyone who worked at the station was also just incredibly, incredibly ordinary. Like the lady that kept offering... No, the lady that did the strip search kept saying like, oh, is this okay? Is this okay? Or something. And not really meaning it or something, but it was just... You could see it's her ritual. Again, security guy. Perfectly accurate, normal description. He didn't have to be someone. He didn't have to be charismatic. Nothing. Just him. And as well as a therapist, she handled the situation incredibly well, but at certain points her choices were probably questionable.
Even like at the school, like the teachers were
oh
so...
my god. Yeah, the teachers. Good gosh.
At their job.
Yeah. And the funny realization with the dad is like, oh my god, this is like the school I sent my son to.
Yeah.
But it's just a standard school, and if anything, it's probably one of the better schools because it's got uniform, it's got funding, it's clearly got something. Yeah. It's like it just showed a more truthful depiction of things. No one had to be what they're stereotyped to be. And yeah, that was the third episode. That was not the third.
That was the third episode. That's it. I thought standalone, it could be classed as a psycho thriller, like a horror movie into the mind of a 13-year-old boy. It really was like quite scary, the things that were coming out of his mouth. But after that, we have like all that is needed, the backstory and what's going on currently, everything that had led to the point of his arrest, and how he kind of just basically a breakdown of his character, which I thought was very important because after episode 1, we're like still in shock, or we still like are on the side of the kid. But now it's clear that like there's something definitely wrong with him. Is it a product of his environment? Like what actually is this? We had a hint of that from like looking at the school that he went to, but obviously the closest thing to him would be his parents and his family. And that's what episode 4 is about, was just like a day in the life of the family after the events of what had happened in episode 1. This is the first time we see the family after episode 1.
Yeah.
And
but just before, I think alongside with the seeing that there is something wrong with him, I think it could as easily be said that he wasn't terribly different from what you'd imagine his peers to be as well.
Exactly.
So it's still that sort of doubt in the air that's like, okay, but what made you do this? Or flip side, is everyone capable of doing that?
That's the scary part. I feel like the commentary there was, it's so like the margins are so fine between like what he did and the fact that any other boy his age could easily have done that.
Yeah.
Because they kind of all grow up with having that same sort of mindset about women or about how to be a man. So yeah.
You kind of go into the last episode still needing one reason to stand out, one reason it may be showing, oh, the family is schizophrenic or something, or something to be like, surely this can't just be it. It can't be that a boy was having a bad day, because everything was standard almost. Anyways, last episode, they wake up, it's the dad's birthday, the mom has cooked breakfast for him. And
starts off well enough.
Yeah, very ordinary family, sweet family. And the dad goes outside to use van and he sees that it's been vandalized. It says, what does it say?
Nonce.
Oh, right. That was such a British term. What does that mean?
I think nonce, is nonce in the same category as pedo?
Maybe.
Nonce.
I have no idea.
A person convicted of sexual offense, especially child molesting. I think it's
nice.
In the same realm as pedophile. But I don't exactly, because then who is that to? Is that to the dad, or I guess maybe like informally it can just be used in any situation. So maybe they were talking about like, I honestly have no idea.
Honestly, it probably has some deeper resonance, but I just can't help but think of the terms we throw out on a daily basis that have different meanings, but we use them anyways. Like, I mean, we don't use moron, but moron. And I don't know.
Why is more on your mind? Because of the
the
book?
Yeah. We'll get into the book.
We'll get into the
book. What else do we say daily? Like, we probably say incel. Oh, we say autistic a lot. We don't. We don't. I know that some people.
Yeah. Okay. I guess like alright. Yeah. Autistic. I think retarded is also one people say.
Yeah. I mean, in some places that's a word you can't say.
You can't say. Yeah.
I know people say. Some people say like, okay, it's kind of outdated now, but like gay as
it's not outdated.
Yeah.
People still say gay.
Oh, okay. Then nonce is I mean, I think it's more the way I saw it, I just wrote it off as like, okay, kids vandalized.
There probably is more because why not murderer or like something more related to what had actually happened. But yeah,
they're not smart like that. They don't think that nuance. But yeah. And I think, we go into this episode and, I mean, just from the way they started, perfectly normal day, the mom cooking a breakfast for the dad, the mom making black pudding and the saying like, oh, it's bad for you, but, it's for your birthday, so here you go. And, you're just on the side that, like, this family is completely unsuspecting. They're going through a lot. They don't even understand why their kid did this. And then you see the vandalism and you're immediately like, oh, the family is being written off as a whole with this child. They're being associated with, like, directly with the murder, even though that's not actually what's going on. And that's sort of how it starts off.
Yeah. And then immediately after that, we see the first argument between the mom and the dad. Yeah. And you immediately see the parallels between the kids' tantrums before and how his dad acts now. Because then even... you see after we'll get to the argument, but then after that you see like the daughter was there hearing that, so you can imagine that the boy also would see that every day and kind of grow up seeing that as what it means to be masculine. Because in that argument she's like suggesting to like pack up and move, right? Like move from that place. True. Because of stuff like that has been happening, and it's not even like a sit down and talk discussion. He's immediately like, no, like we stay here. I say we stay here, so we're staying here. And you kind of see then like connecting back to episode 3 where he's like, you don't tell me what to do. I do what I want type of thing from his son. So you see that already the things that Jamie picked up from his dad in that very first argument that he had with his wife. Because I mean, how your parents act is your first connection to what a man and woman should be like in their relationship.
And you also immediately see what her mom's way of dealing with conflict is, because at that age, and also just from that age, pretty much a boy and his mom are a little bit closer than the boy and the dad. The dad is more, again, that figure that you're modeled after, but the one that you go to for support and comfort and the one you probably run to first is your mom. And you can see immediately that she is like conflict avoidant. She just wants to brush it off with like a simple small solution. She's a little bit frustrating to hear, because it's like, why don't you come up with better ideas, be a better like arguer, change. At least that's what I was focusing on, because I don't know, an angry dad seemed pretty typical. I was a little bit like, oh my god, mom, do something, you seem a little bit useless in this. But it was clear that she was just keeping peace as much as possible.
That's probably how she was raised in the time that she was growing up, to be as a woman.
And then the dad wants to get the vandalism off, and then they go to they stop at the hardware store first. They're like, okay, we'll go to this place first, and then we'll do everything else. And the mom the whole time is insisting like, oh, why don't you just like sit and have your breakfast first, and then we'll do or something. But the dad is very like, no, gotta do this now. So difference in opinion and whatnot. And then the mom just relents, and they go with the daughter who is clearly unable to process everything that's happened. Like there's just clear tension, and the parents are still trying to protect the daughter and see what's going on. So very much like elephant in the room happening that they're not addressing.
And when it eventually comes up at the end, it's so good, but we'll get there.
And then they go they drive, and now they're planning the day, and everything's just mundane. It's just time passing. You're seeing them be a very ordinary family. Nothing is sticking out.
There was one thing that, I guess that could be also considered ordinary. But then when they started to say, attack the problem of the day, and it's a therapy thing, you can see, okay, they've been going to couples therapy because clearly maybe his anger issues have put a strain on their relationship to the point that they feel like they need to go to couples therapy to address the problem of the day, so then he doesn't spiral out and tear down the shed again, I guess. But like stuff like that throughout, like the whole car ride and the talk was kind of boring, but like it's hints like that throughout that I feel like that make it so grounded in reality, that this is something, this could be like, you could just be a fly on the wall in this, like it doesn't have to be a movie in a fantasy world. Like this could happen in a regular day in Stoke or whatever city they're in the UK. But yeah, they're planning their day, and they're talking about what they're gonna do. And he seems a lot more calm now in the car after he's let that frustration out. Same with how Jamie would, after throwing the tantrum, he'd come back and like apologize and like start again calmly, only to then have a burst again later, which the dad also has. But yeah, they're planning they get to the hardware store.
He's being a very ordinary dad with like dad jokes and and he and the mom were just being that like gross couple mom or something, and the kid is dealing with it. It's a typical dynamic.
Exactly. It seems like they're back to some sort of normal, even after clearly their son is missing. Because even in the car, it's a 3-seater.
Yeah.
You would imagine when Jamie was there, what would they have done? You don't know, because this seems like the normal now. Yeah. It's just dad, daughter, mom, and it fits them perfectly in the car. Like, so it's like this picture perfect, I guess, family with a dark past, whatever. So yeah, they get to the hardware store, and I thought it was really interesting that the kind of shy, reserved worker was the one that was on his side, right? He like knew, he seemed to know a lot about the topic, to like a minute detail topic of getting paint off your car, right? But then when they're talking, he's like, "Oh, I'm on your son's side." He says something I wish I could remember for the life of me. Do you know what he said?
No.
But it was something along the lines like, "I'm on his side." Like, why would like something about like what you can do with video these days is crazy. Like, why would he do it? Something.
Yeah.
Like, he was clearly on the side of the son.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing, is that realistic? Do you think?
The worker feeling this way, or the theory the worker had?
The worker feeling this way. I think the theory is normal in a sense, like if you're feeling that way, you're probably gonna come up with some sort of theory. And I'm thinking they're probably thinking, oh, they're like, oh, this new day and age trying to bring men down or something like that. Is the feeling that I got, that he was trying to be a bit of like, again, that red pill type of society member.
I think it was a fantastic portrayal of a thing that happens often, but again, I don't think it's just showed as well, or just, so quickly in a few lines. I managed to get this across. The idea that he is one, he just seems normal. And then he's nosy. Everyone's nosy. And then he tells the dad, he's on the dad's side, basically. He's on the family side, but for the wrong reasons that the dad doesn't want to hear. And now it's like, oh, well, you can't really get mad at someone who's on your side, but you can't really not want them on your side because some people are not on your side, but also like, you've just got things wrong and get out of my face, get out of my business. And then that's when like the dad is sort of triggered and just wants to walk away, right? Because now he's the one dealing with all of this. I think it's like, imagine we were fighting for, we're trying to get people on our side for equality for women. And then some men come and then they support us, but only for the reasons like, oh, then men can be lazier. And then you're kind of like, well, you suck. I don't want you around. But we're supporting the same thing. And it's like, well, what do you do then? And I think that showed that well.
But do you know what it is? The dad had seen the footage, right? So the dad knows that his son has done this. Him coming up and saying like, oh, I'm on your side, I don't think he did it. The dad knows that his son has done it. But the idea of like having people on his side, like to kind of like, I guess, save the family's image. Because even when he's storming off, he hesitates. Like he looks back at the guy helping someone else hesitate. Maybe he wants to go like contact him or like try to get this like movement going. But then I guess he thinks twice about it and then goes back to the car. I feel like just in that moment it says so much about like where his mind is at, right? Like you've seen your son stab a young girl 7 times.
Yeah.
But now you're dealing with the consequences that you're right now actually dealing with in real time, of like having to scrub the paint off of the van. But then you find like this kind of, I guess, sliver of hope that maybe I could turn the community around, right, to be on my side based off of what this young kid had said. What would you do in that situation?
Well, I don't know, but all of this is just adding up to this idea that no one will ever understand him and his family in the position they're in. No one. And life will never be normal again.
Yeah.
And they effectively, in some ways, didn't do anything. But now they have to deal with this suddenly. And it's all of just this just piling on. And you're sort of, well, I mean, maybe you're in my position where you just don't know how you'd personally react, so you're kind of watching how they're going to react. Because it's just, you know, it's a rock and a hard place. There's no way out.
Yeah.
So he meets up with his family again after he gets the paint, because you can't afford the actual fix and whatnot. And he just wanted a solution. He just bought a pint of paint, and then he met up with the family, but the family was all happy because initially when he separated from them, he made it a happy affair. And he's trying to readjust, but the family's picking up on something. I don't know what happened, but tensions start building, and the mom is just like talking about other things, and he gets to the car, and and then before he throws the paint, does he first see the
so he sees
he sees the people who graffitied his van. Yeah.
And then that like takes something off him, because he's just coming off of a bad interaction, right? And this is like something just immediately.
Yeah.
And these are like kids, right? I'd say like 16 maximum years of age. And he goes up to them, catches them, and he's like, obviously you can't punch a kid, but he's like doing the most he can that is still legal, I guess. Like he's holding him up and throwing him around and whatnot, but making sure not to like hurt him. But you can still see the rage in his mannerisms and the way he's talking. Like he's swearing at these kids. I guess which is normal in the UK, because the cop also swore at the kid. Maybe there's something there.
That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like people are just sort of normal at their jobs. They're not exceptional. And he's getting the point across. Like, you don't know what I'm going through. He's also sort of being a dad to be like, you just don't do that to other people. You respect people and their things and whatnot. And I guess that's like the first opportunity he's had to vent, at least that day. And the whole time it's also his birthday. It's meant to be a good day, and it's been a really long time since the stabbing already. So I don't know, just a lot of emotion from him.
A lot of emotions from him, and I guess it's also like speaking to the fact that I feel like as a man, in that situation, you don't really have a lot of people to talk to. So a lot of the times you like hold it within, like it bottles up, and obviously like pressure burst pipes, and his pipe burst, I guess, because he was like, he fully exploded on that scene in front of the hardware store where like he throws the bikes are heavy. You can't throw a bike that far, but he throws the bike pretty far, comes back, dumps the bucket of paint all over the thing, and then the people from the store come like, hey, you have to clean it up, and then he like swears at them or whatnot. Like he's fully like in a fit, like letting everything out. And I think it's just because he's been holding things like this in for such a long time, where now he gets in the car and his family are like startled, don't know what to do. And it was so clever then that the point of view was just on the mother for the entire ride back of what's going on. Because then it's completely switched. It's like, okay, we've seen what the man's view is, and now it's back to the woman. And she kind of just sits there and like tries not to cry for most of the ride. And it's like she's tuning out the sounds of what's going on, really.
The whole time, even when he was in a fit, she was dealing with it badly. She was telling him like, well, okay, at that point she was saying the only thing she could, which is just get in the car, get in the car, let's just go. And she's really just quite linear in her approach.
But I think there was also a bit of fear in her eyes, at least from what I was seeing.
Definitely.
In the camera. And it's like, that's also quite heavy.
I mean, you felt it in like the silence that sort of settled the second they all climbed onto the car, and they were just figuring out how to, like, they needed to leave. They wanted to calm the dad down, but they didn't know whether speaking would be the right thing, whether not speaking. And yeah, I feel like you really focus on the dad. I really focus on like the mom and the daughter. I mean, it kind of makes sense. It's probably the people we look up to first, maybe. But yeah.
Yeah, it's like kind of the fear of like not knowing what he would do, and so they don't do anything and kind of let him, I guess, lead the talking. They don't know like if they're still going on this trip or whatnot.
You
that
sort
they
of
were
know
planning on.
if you nag, it could go wrong.
It could go completely wrong.
Yeah, anything just could set him off more. And it's clearly from experience as well. From
exactly. Yeah. And so they're on this car ride, and like everything's just being tuned out until like the call from the prison.
Yeah. Everything, it was kind of getting back to their little playful banter, and then prison call.
And it's kind of like back to reality. Like, this is a family that's actually going through something.
Yeah.
And then he says, "I'm gonna change my plea," and I'm like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
Because from the mom hasn't seen the video. I don't know. Oh, sorry. I don't know what they've talked about as a family. We don't know what they talk about. But just knowing like the mom hasn't seen the video, so like as a mother, I guess maybe from the dad's perspective also, he probably wouldn't have said anything to kind of protect the mom and the daughter from like knowing what his son truly did. But then getting that confirmation from the son directly saying that he's gonna plead guilty is like, my son really did this then, because why else would he plead guilty?
It's exactly that they just, this whole time they were holding on to the sliver of hope that it wasn't happening, but also that they've just not had a moment of peace, because as you could see just in that little snippet of them running an errand, they keep bumping into the reality of what the son has done, and they just can't leave it be. Plead guilty, ball drops, and they're still trying to maintain conversation. I think it's the mom that speaks first, is it? Or something that's... No, because then he's like... later.
No, I think he hears her voice, and he's like, "That is our like mom and whatever the daughter's name in the car with you," and like, "Oh, I thought I was talking to you alone." That exactly, in that moment you also know, okay, this has been something that dad has been keeping from everyone. Like, case related stuff has only been between dad and son. And I think that's even like in my family, I would say like a lot of the stuff, like there was one time I got scammed for housing, and that stayed between me and my dad. There's a lot of things like you just keep between like the boys in the family to not like...
Oh, trust me, there's so much I keep with just my mom.
Yeah, I would imagine there's also the same with the women of the family, but it's stuff like that you kind of have to keep like from, I guess, the opposite gender in the family. I don't know why.
You just want to protect them a little bit.
Exactly.
As much as you can.
Exactly.
You know that you can't, but there's no need to do more harm if you can avoid it. I think that's the idea.
But then in that moment, the protection kind of goes away, right? Because now like they're let into this part of their son. And I find it interesting because it's only after that has happened, and it was like an involuntary thing where he doesn't flip out. Like he actually does the healthy thing, which is like cry to his wife about like, did I do something wrong? Did I like, is it me? Did he get it from me? Because you would imagine like, if it's been 8-9 months after this, surely they would have already had this conversation, but they hadn't, because he'd been holding it in until it was let out. And now he's actually doing the whole thing, which is talking to someone being his wife about the whole thing. I thought it was a very, as wholesome of an end as you can get, given the premise of the series.
It was, I don't know what about it. I probably need more time to process and think about it, but it was something so right seeing the dad break down and have that just be the focus and how everything concludes, and him crying into the son's bed and crying into the teddy bear and tucking the little teddy bear in and just wishing he could have done differently, because I mean, everything is just that. The parents will take the blame no matter what the son says. They're gonna think that they did something wrong. It's changed their like whole lives, and it's not something they'll ever understand. They won't ever get closure for it.
But he doesn't even like us as the viewers already connect like the violent behavior to his dad, but he doesn't even see that. I think maybe does his wife mention something about it? I think she might have.
I don't know where you were going with that, but I was thinking that at some point he did mention that. I think in the beginning, maybe this was the setup for that. He mentioned how he never got a birthday from his dad or something, and that he was already so much better than his dad because I don't know what the treatment was, that he should have been grateful for 2 eggs on his birthday or something like that. And now he's just again at a loss because he's the dad to his child, and I don't know. What were you thinking of?
About that, I feel like that's the scary thing about like the flaws that you have, right? You don't really see them. So he only sees the flaws in his dad and corrects that, but he doesn't see his own flaws. And so like obviously that gets passed on to his son.
Yeah.
And I would imagine if his son had then like grown up, I guess more normal than that, he would have also seen his dad's flaws and try to correct that in his son. But in situations, maybe the flaws are too heavy where it compounds to the point where your son ends up being a murderer.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But where I was going, what I was saying was, like he thinks he's done the right things in like taking him to sports and things like that, but he doesn't see like the way he talks to his mom, his wife, is the way his son has seen as the right way or the normal way to address women.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And even in like him taking him to sports, it's just kind of that tension in like, has he ever been proud of his son, you know? Because like even in football, like he sucked at football and he wouldn't even look at him when he made a mistake. Yeah. That's a very heavy, like if you can't love your son for like, even if he does bad, like you can't love him for trying, that's like that's very hard to break as like a response. Because even his son had noticed that his dad didn't look at him whenever he sucked at something. But he did acknowledge that, okay, he was good at drawing, then he stopped drawing. I forgot the reason that they mentioned. But you can kind of see in his head, like he's thinking out loud, going through like, where did I go wrong? Like this was him when he was a kid growing up. Like, I think I've done the right thing. So why did he end up doing this? But I guess he's too much in the eye of the storm to notice things that us as the viewers may have noticed, or other things outside of the confinements of their house, such as the school that they took him to, the friends that he hangs out with. And in that moment, also, like it was a moment of reflection for me, because my parents have always been like interested in who my friends are and who my friends' parents are. Because then if I go to have a sleepover, obviously that's important as well, because whatever adults you see in your life, you try to mimic them. And I guess as a parent, it is very important to know, because your kids won't be with you 24/7. So in the hours that they're not with you, it's very important to know what's going on, right? Because it does take a village. So the village needs to be in agreement in terms of like how to raise a kid. Yeah. I feel like if I had grown up in Jamie's surroundings, who knows? I might have been the one that ended up killing a girl just because she didn't want to go to the movies with me. You know, I think that was the one scariest part about the whole show for me as a boy. Yeah.
I mean, the natural thing to do as parents is to just hope that you raise your child well enough to be able to go out and eventually choose the right community, be in the right environment, because as much as you control, you can't control everything. And my, I guess, takeaway for other people would be that I think every family also just has to accept that you're going to raise, in some ways, a dysfunctional child, because you're going to make up for the generational trauma that you were put upon, and in the same way, it's going to backfire for your kids. For instance, if your parents gave you too little validation, you give your child too much validation, your child now doesn't know how to function unless they meet said validation, hypothetically, just an example. And it's sort of the loop, and the only thing you can do is hope that the child at some point realizes this and breaks the loop for themselves. Because even telling them this, it's not going to work. It's something you have to realize for yourself. Telling Jamie that you were getting a lot of this behavior from your dad and from your environment is not going to help. He has to realize. And everyone's going to go through that phase where your priorities are completely out of proportion. And you kind of have to just wait and hope that when they reach probably around our age now, from 18 onwards, that they'll start having a little more introspection, a little more self-awareness, and figure some stuff out. Yeah. Which is the scary, scary ending to this, that there was not too much you could have done to prevent this because you just can't predict the future. And what happens? Was it worse for you because the protagonist, antagonist, I have no idea, was a boy?
Well, I can't say worse because I don't know what I would be comparing it to.
Did you focus more on Jamie?
I focused a lot, on Jamie and his relationship with his dad. Yeah. Naturally, yeah.
I definitely put it more into the perspective of, oh, I know a boy is usually close with their mom. I know the relationship with the dad. It's interesting to see this dynamic. I can understand why Jamie would hide things from his dad. I can understand that he inherits things from his dad. But I was like, it's definitely focused a lot more on the female characters that have.
For me, it was like, it was both a reflection and like a gratitude session, because my dad does not have a violent bone in his body. So I cannot even imagine myself being as violent as was portrayed in the show, let alone like violent at all with any woman that I come across. Like to shout at your wife or something. Like my dad is very non-confrontational in the sense like, or even like if they have stuff, they handle it in private, where like it's very much a conversation instead of like, violence and whatnot. But it's also things, then I would start thinking, okay, there are definitely things that I think I have taken from my dad, which I don't think are like quite healthy. Like he's very hard to like show emotion, like, or like be, what's the word? Like similar to how Jamie's dad wouldn't look when he did something bad, but it would be like, even if you did something good, you wouldn't elicit a reaction out of him. So in a sense, like too little validation, right? So, but I inherit that in the sense like I also am very hard to like validate someone else. I don't know but I've been noticing that and I've been trying to like up it. But then you just said about showing too much validation. I'm thinking, is that what I'm doing? I don't know, man. This is all confusing.
We could do another episode about generational trauma.
We could talk about, probably in the childhood episode, I think we could talk about that. But I wanted to say one more thing about the show, which is the daughter. Because she's older than Jamie.
Much older.
She seems a lot more self-sufficient, I'd say, than the mom, especially. Because they had that one, like, moment in her room talking about, like, the boy that she's talking to. And she's like, she's fine. Like, she can handle herself and stuff. I thought that was very nice.
She also probably didn't want to go out, but she put on a nice top with her dad. Like, she's clearly very self-aware. And I hate to say it, but that sort of independence and maturity, unless she's closer to 18, but she didn't seem that close to 18, like 16, 17. But even then, if you're already exhibiting that, it could be an indicator that your parents didn't give you enough attention. So at the end of the day, I don't think his parents were like fantastic parents.
No.
I don't think but obviously,
they were ordinary.
They were ordinary. That's the thing. Obviously, there are things you can attribute to them and congratulate them and pat them on the back for. But they weren't the best in the scale of parents.
Not at all. They were very normal.
Yeah.
Very, very normal.
Nice. Anything else? Closing remarks? Adolescence? Great name.
Yeah. I don't know. Great name. It's okay.
I mean, if the focus was the portrayal of behaviors of teenagers and insight into that, because I feel like this is just something that parents are going to watch and understand, because that's sort of, I think that's what happened in the UK, that it blew up with families more. I mean, for us, it's, I don't know, I saw it and I was a little bit I wasn't necessarily surprised, but I can see how it could help maybe my parents watching it to have a better understanding of things going on now.
That's what I've always said about, like, I feel like the Netflix UK shows or movies have always been like spot on like entertainingly talking about such heavy topics in the UK society. Like Top Boy was about like what, gang violence and knife crime. Supercell, which I think came out last summer, was also about like again, it's kind of the same topic, but also racial discrimination, and things like that. And even like, I think it also touched upon like the nightlife scene and how easy it is to like be in a situation where you might be abused. I think Netflix UK does a very good job at doing stuff like that. Something that the US version could take a leaf out of their book for. Less Love Is Blind, more more adolescence.
Yeah, I mean the kid looked his age. I mean the kid in real life he's older, but like I think he looked. It was a decent representation of 13. I think it's 15, 16.
That's fine.
Yeah. But yeah. I have a thing I could add. One of the reasons why I just knew that my remark would be that this thing was so true to life was when I saw him screaming in the face of the therapist. Mm-hmm. I've seen it before in real life. Mm-hmm. Like literally two people, a child and an adult, being about 10 centimeters away from each other's faces, just screaming because one's trying to get more power over the other. I'm battling out like that. Which, yeah, I was like, whoa. Interesting.
Okay. That seems very long.
Adolescence, yeah, it was